Good morning to one and all. It's my pleasure to share with you a perspective on the future of EVs in the personal mobility space. As you know, the EVs in India are in a very nascent phase of its growth. And this is one big transition that one is expecting in the auto industry in the next 1 decade. If one sees from the perspective of OEMs, it triggers a major transformation, not only in the strategy, but also resource allocation on one hand. And on the other hand, it also is a big lever for the OEMs to use it as a lever for complying to the new emerging stringent emission norms. If you see from a customer perspective, for them, it is going to be an adjustment and a familiarity with a new technology. But at the same time, there will be a need from their perspective to see a supportive ecosystem evolving around EVs. So there are certain questions which get triggered. What are the roadblocks to driving the adoption of EVs, especially from a personal mobility space perspective? Do we see any early signs of the ecosystem really developing as far as electrification is concerned? And in the bigger picture of the nation, which is around pollution and the need for EVs, does personal mobility has a role to play as far as adoption of EVs in that space is concerned? These are the questions, around which I'll focus my presentation to give a perspective of what can therefore be the future of EVs in the personal segment. So if you see, urban pollution is a key concern for India. And we all have seen this data that 14 out of 15 world's most polluted cities are in India. And the most harmful particulate matter, which is 2.5, in major cities, it is 40% above the acceptable levels. And it is causing 1.6 million deaths and welfare losses. If you do the assessment, it is nearly 7.7% of the GDP. But let's focus on how each category is contributing to the urban pollution when it comes to automotive categories. Of course, the two-wheelers contribute the most by sheer park and population on the roads. But four-wheelers are the next big one. And I have just bifurcated into shared mobility and personal because shared mobility is the one where the focus of EVs are more. And there is a natural case given that there is an operating cost advantage and shared four-wheelers run more. But if you see the personal four-wheelers, actually it contributes much more. Again, because the park is much higher as compared to the shared four-wheelers. And then, of course, the buses and the goods and trucks. So it is very essential, if you take from a larger, holistic view of what the nation needs in terms to fight the issue of pollution, electric vehicles in personal mobility space is very, very important. Now, if personal mobility space has to see the adoption of EVs, what are the barriers and roadblocks? The first barrier is the higher price, which is typically 2.5 times more, is how electric vehicles have been as compared to a conventional vehicle. The earlier electric vehicles that the personal buyers have seen is that these are only 100-kilometer range vehicles. You have limited options. These are, non-aspirational, tiny cars, low on performance. This is how the perception of EVs have been. Also, you don't see any charging infrastructure on the streets, on the highways, and there were no home charging solutions also, or even the awareness of there can be a home charging solution or not was not there. And since it's a new technology, it comes with its own uncertainty. People are worried whether the battery will last during the ownership period and how much it is going to cost them if it is going to go bad. And safety concerns, for example, whether electric vehicles are safe in the flooded streets during the rainy season. So these are the roadblocks which have been the areas of concern as far as adoption of EVs in personal mobility space is concerned. Now, the question is how these barriers are getting addressed, or do we see any early signs of these barriers being overcome? Let me start with first the price. People would not be aware that as far as the total cost of ownership is concerned, for the shared mobility segment, which runs nearly 50,000 kilometers a year, with the FAME incentive that the government gives and without also, it is already better than the conventional vehicles. If you talk about the personal mobility space, and typical running would be about 15,000 kilometers a year. With the movements that we are seeing, and I'll talk about what movements I'm saying, with the gap narrowing between conventional vehicles and EVs, already we are seeing that by FY23, there will be a case for personal vehicles in terms of a better TCO as compared to conventional vehicles. Now, what are the factors which is going to lead to this kind of transition towards a better TCO? One is the government incentives itself. Now, if you see government incentive is coming in form of GST, which is lower at 5%, the FAME to subsidy, it is being extended to fleet segment, not the personal segment. But for the fleet segment, therefore, it becomes an additional lever of achieving a better TCO. Road tax and registration is waived off in most of the states across the country, whether it is for personal segment or fleet segment. And for personal buyers, there is an income tax waiver benefit which is also given. So this really helps in bridging the gap between what exists today between electric vehicles and the conventional vehicles. There are many states also which are extending additional demand incentives, which really are helpful for adoption in those cities and states. And one very good development is that on the EVs, the cost is actually coming down because with the rising scale, one is seeing the battery prices also and all the other major components like motor and all also falling very sharply. The battery itself is falling by nearly 15 to 20% every year. So therefore, you are seeing electric vehicle cost coming down. But on the other side, if you see the conventional vehicles, because of the new CAFE norms or the emission norms which are going to come in the future, conventional vehicles are becoming more and more expensive. And also we are seeing how the fuel prices have been rising. So you're seeing that there are favorable factors and tailwinds in favor of electric vehicles, whereas you're seeing headwinds on the cost front as far as the conventional vehicles are concerned. Talking about the range anxiety and lack of suitable options. Now, you have only, limited models, in electric vehicle space. You would have 3-4 models as compared to 200 plus models in the conventional vehicle. So till you don't bring more and more choices in terms of range, in terms of price points, in terms of body styles, it will be very difficult for a personal buyer to really take a choice which is coming out of several options that he or she would have compared with. But one good thing is that most of the OEMs have announced their intention of bringing the electric vehicles. And therefore, you're seeing that from mere 6 models that exist today in the Indian market, this is going to go up to 26 models in the next 5 years. The other big concern has been the range, but the range is also being driven by the cost of the batteries as we are speaking today. But as the cost of batteries are going to go down, it will be taken as an opportunity by the OEMs to increase the range. So you're seeing that in FY 18-20, the onboard energy used to be less than 20. So it used to be around 16. But in FY 2022, you are seeing this gravitating towards 30 kilowatt hour. And in the next 2 to 3 years, you will see this shifting towards 40 kilowatt hour, which means that you'll start getting a real range of about 350 kilometers to 400 kilometers as compared to what you get typically around 250 kilometers with a 30 kilowatt hour. So you are seeing a direction which is going to overcome the range anxiety as the battery prices go down. As far as charging infrastructure is concerned, one that government has fully supported the development of infrastructure through policy interventions. It has laid nearly 1,000 crores outlay in the FAME 2 itself by subsidizing the chargers. Uh, it has also mandated that 20% of parking spaces in the residential and commercial complexes have to be EVs. It is also enabling charging stations to operate without license and so on. So it has taken multiple measures to promote the development of charging infrastructure. And you are seeing that there are multiple charging point providers also, which are now coming on the back of these supportive measures by the government. Tata Power is definitely leading among all the other players. It has already installed 300 plus fast chargers in cities and highways. Of course, it has also installed 3,000 home chargers, along with us, and about 100 captive charging points with the fleet operators, and has planned to take it up to 2,500 by FY 2022. And you're seeing also other players, including government entities like ESL, going very aggressive in putting this charging infrastructure. So I think overall, you're going to see in the next 2 to 3 years, there will be a rapid development of the charging infrastructure in the country, and more importantly, the home charging solution, which is important from the perspective of a personal buyer. As far as technology uncertainties are concerned, from a personal buyer point of view, if you see, the person is worried about uh, whether in 4 or 5 years of his ownership period, uh, whether the whether the product is going to behave reliably and will have the durability or not. The good thing is that most of the OEMs, including us, are offering 8-year warranty, 1,60,000 kilometer warranty, which gives a lot of peace of mind, against these uncertainties in the mind of the customer. And also the fear that whether electric vehicles are unsafe in rainy season, uh, this is being given with IP67 protection, uh, and the next level of protection can only be submarine, for example. So, durability and reliability, comfort is being given in the offer itself. Driving pleasure, if you drive an electric vehicle and then drive a conventional vehicle, it will be a no-brainer that you would go for an electric vehicle because of the peppiness that you find in that. Absolutely silent drive, better ride and handling, and default automatic transmission. These are the benefits that one gets, as well as comfort and convenience, hassle-free home charging. You don't have to go to petrol stations anymore. You just come to your home, plug in your car in your parking lot, and then next day you're good to go for with 100% charge in your car. Maintenance is low because of lesser moving parts. And as you start moving towards native EVs, you'll start seeing that even the cabin space and all also is going to be very different than what you see in the conventional vehicles. So overall, this is also being addressed very actively by the OEMs, and which will be very favorable as far as adoption of EVs are concerned in the personal segment. So what one is seeing that out of these initial actions which have been taken, Indian auto industry is already seeing a rapid growth. So what you see on this chart is that this is a 5-year duration from FY17 to what is projected for FY21. You'll see that in the earlier years, and this goes with the logic that fleet is the natural segment for adoption of EVs. Till FY20, fleet segment was the dominant portion of the electric vehicle sales. And I'm talking only about the cars. But in FY21, despite this being a pandemic year, you have seen a 6 times growth in the sales of EVs in the personal segment. And the situation has just turned the opposite. Nearly 75 to 80% of the electric vehicles used to the fleet segment. This year, it is nearly 90% being the personal segment. And see the growth. The growth is 2 times what it was in the last year. Overall, I'm saying EVs. And if you had not lost the quarter one because of the pandemic, then this would have been even much higher. So you're already seeing rapid adoption of electric vehicles in the personal segment uh, with 3 or 4 models which have got launched. So imagine that once you're going to see all those 25, 26 models which will get launched with better range also and with charging infrastructure around it, I think you would have addressed most of the barriers that exist today as far as personal mobility space is concerned towards adoption of EVs. Now, going forward, therefore, I believe that personal segment presents a big opportunity. Unlike just focusing on fleet segment, I would say that there is a greater opportunity and imperative to drive electrification in the personal segment. Personal segment, if you see, as a percentage of total industry is 80%, whereas fleet segment would be 15% or so. So even if you are able to achieve lower penetration in the personal cars, the population of EVs would be more. Of course, not saying that you should not be driving adoption in the fleet segment, but personal segment will give much better return in terms of penetration of electric vehicles is concerned. The good thing is that the new age customers are already ready to adopt new and environmentally friendly technologies. And one is seeing, and you have seen in the last 1 year itself, it has just grown 6 times as far as personal segment adoption is concerned for EVs. And personal segment are not just seeing the total cost of ownership and are so price sensitive as unlike the fleet segment. So they are really giving importance to other factors which are more beneficial as when you compare an electric vehicle versus a conventional vehicle. And you are already seeing that barriers like range anxiety, lack of EV models, charging infrastructure, price, etc., is being overcome. So there's a big opportunity I see in the personal mobility space. But what are the delight factors that the OEMs will have to focus on to drive faster penetration? One is that the price should be within 15 to 20% of the comparable conventional vehicle model. It should have minimum range of 200 kilometer real range, and this should be reasonable enough for adoption as far as electric vehicles are concerned. The charging infrastructure has to expand, and ideally, if we are able to reach chargers every 10 to 30 kilometers, that would be a situation where there will be great comfort among the personal buyers. Charging time has to come down to 20 to 30 minutes through fast chargers, superchargers, and this is one area where OEMs and the other ecosystem players will have to work on. And of course, it has the benefit of low operating costs. So if we are able to bring these benefits, it will trigger a big inflection point for adoption of EVs in the personal segment. Going forward, I think both government as well as OEM and ecosystem players will have to act and play their part in addressing the bottlenecks that still exist. Government can really consider extending the FAME 2 incentive to also the private electric cars. This will really trigger a much faster adoption given that 80 to 85% of the cars which are sold in India are personal mobility in the personal mobility segment. Second is that government should drive 100% adoption of the cars that is being used in the government department that should become electric. Third is that subsidy should be extended to home as well as public charging setup. And also it should be mandated to the DISCOMs and smart cities to ensure that the grid is augmented and upgraded. In a situation where the electric vehicles would become nearly 10 to 15%, otherwise it will be very difficult to support this kind of a penetration. So I think these are some of the steps that government can take. In terms of OEMs and ecosystem players, OEM need to develop practical and accessible high performance EVs, have to invest in awareness creation and myth busting actions. We'll have to develop capabilities and drive localization so that value addition happens within the country. and there's end-to-end capability which is being developed, because auto industry is also a big employment generation source for the country. We have to accelerate the charging infrastructure in cities, and all the charging players have to really come with a much more aggressive plan to support adoption. And on the financing side, there should be different alternative business models like subscription, leasing, which will really help in driving this adoption. Uh, this is all what I wanted to share. That there's a big opportunity that one has in the personal mobility space, and there are already early signs that the roadblocks that existed for driving electrification in the personal mobility space is already being overcome. And going forward, the enablers that I talked about is going to be even more supportive of a much faster adoption of electric vehicles. And therefore, in my view, the future of EVs will be much more significant in the personal mobility space, given the benefit it will give in terms of reducing the pollution, because it's one of the bigger contributors, and also in terms of deeper penetration of cars in the country, because this is the largest segment of the cars that get sold in the country. So that's all. That's the perspective that I wanted to share. I'm happy to take any questions from you all. Thank you so much.